Greetings and welcome to the Superb Diamond Range Show. This is episode 40, Classic Video Games Music Part 1. So in this episode I'm going to be sharing some of my favourite video game themes of all time, or music of all time. At the beginning there's going to be a bit of a comparison between different versions of music on different consoles of the same game. So I'm going to be doing that with Double Dragon on the Nintendo and Double Dragon on the Game Boy. Also the arcade version of Tetris versus the Game Boy version of Tetris. I'll then go on to share music from one of my favourite platform games back in the day, Sonic 1 and 2, as well as Mario and Street Fighter. I'm going to just briefly run over a disclaimer. Obviously, I have no plans to monetize the content on this podcast on YouTube or, as a podcast. So I give the music copyright infringement. All credit will go to the composer and creators of the game, which I will be mentioning during the show. So I'm going to start off with playing you Double Dragon on the NES. Which I actually never got a chance to play on the NES, but always played it on the Game Boy. But I just wanted to kind of compare the music just to see what people think. When I did get a chance to compare the two, I actually thought the Game Boy version was superior. But the Double Dragon game was, I believe, created by Technos Japan, and it's composed by Kasunaka Yamane. So here is a Double Dragon NES version. Okay, and here is the Double Dragon on the Game Boy, which I personally think is the superior version. Here you go. So there you go, that was the Double Dragon. Now we're going to be moving on to the Tetris game. Again, this is, I believe the game was created by Alexei Pajitnov, and the music, I believe, was Bradinsky. Tetris being a classic game, I actually have played the arcade version as well as the Game Boy. So we'll start by just playing the Tetris arcade music. Here it is. And now I'll play my personal favourite, the Game Boy version, which is known as Tetris Music A or Music Type A. Here you go. yeah, the Tetris pretty classic music. One of my favorites. Something I should comment on is that a lot of the technology they had to work with, to kind of compose these tracks, particularly in the old times with the 8-bit consoles and so on, or even older. There was basically, they were very limited in what they could do. But I found that the limitations push you to be more creative. So you could end up making some really classic music, even when certain limitations are put on you, versus, modern times where you probably have access to most things, and a lot more bandwidth to put it all together. So we're going to be moving on to the music from my favorite platform game, Sonic 1, which obviously was created by Sega. It was on the Mega Drive originally, or in America would be known as the Genesis. Again, the composer here is Masato Nakamura, who I believe did the music for 1 and 2. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of play pretty much the intro of Sonic 1, Green Hill Zone, and Starlight Zone, which is my favorite music. So I'm just going to play those three back to back. So just sit back and enjoy the music. Pretty good music, eh? Very good for its time as well. So now I wanted to sort of focus on Sonic 2, which was the sequel of Sonic 1. And, there was a lot of pressure on this sequel. It was a really big deal. It was very hyped up at the time. I remember seeing adverts on TV. I actually remember when somebody first told me about the original Sonic game and explained that it was a hedgehog running around. And I just couldn't picture it, what it would look like. It didn't really, I just couldn't fathom what it would be like. And obviously when I played it for the first time, I was like blown away by it. I thought it was really, really impressive. I liked the speed of it, and obviously it was just very, very fast and action-packed. And of course, partly why I'm doing this, the music was classic, like in a lot of games. But anyway, with the release of Sonic 2, I feel it was a triumphant return, filled with lots of ambition, particularly the music. So once again, I'm just going to play several tracks in a row, starting off with Emerald Hill Zone, then Chemical Plant Zone, Metropolis Zone, and one of my absolute favourites from Sonic 2. I didn't realise I liked as much music from it as I did, but I think it's called Sky Chase Zone, which is the last one. So again, just sit back and enjoy the music. Yep, hope you're enjoying it. So yeah, I mean, bringing up Sonic, there was always a bit of competition for Sonic from Nintendo, and that was obviously in the form of Mario. But to be fair, I think Mario had come out quite a bit earlier than Sonic. But, you know, I just think it's unfair to just sort of talk about Sonic on Sega and to forget Mario, because Mario is very important. There wasn't a huge lot of music that I liked from Mario. Again, I've only really played Mario 1 and Mario 3. I have tried playing Yoshi's Island recently and Super Mario Land, so I'm sure there's some music that I'm missing out on. So hopefully I can make a future episode with more updated Mario music. But there was a section in Mario 3 which I call the Epic Movement. It's a scene in the game, I don't exactly remember, but I believe you have a battle, and when you win the battle, because Mario has a tail in part 3, a raccoon's tail, I believe. There's a scene where he's floating through the sky, through the clouds, and they play this epic music, which I'm going to share with you now. And again, going back to what I was saying about the limitations that they had with music, it just shows you that you can get some amazing tracks even back then. So yeah, just please enjoy this epic movement, as I call it. Yeah, pretty great, hey? So now I'm thinking it's about time that we introduce Street Fighter to the equation. I believe the Street Fighter music was composed by Yoko Shimomura, and obviously the creators of the game, Capcom, Japan, USA. What I'm pretty much going to do is just play 4 or 5 of my favourite themes from Street Fighter, probably in this order. So it will be Ryu, Ken, M. Bison. I believe it's the USA call him that, or Mike Bison. In the UK we know him as Balrog, but the Boxer's theme over in Las Vegas. And finally, my favourite Street Fighter theme Guile's theme, which I believe is the best one. Always was motivated when I heard that music or liked fighting that zone or that round or that opponent. I would say that I deliberately used to lose a round if I was playing against Guile because I just wanted to listen to the music a bit longer. And to beat someone in 2 rounds wasn't quite as good as making it last 3 rounds so you could hear the music a bit longer. So anyway, I'm going to play them back to back for you. So here's the music from Street Fighter, starting off obviously with Ryu, Ken, M. Bison, Balrog, and Guile's theme. Hope you enjoy. absolute classic music from Street Fighter there. Big fan. Again, a lot of this music is absolutely timeless, and to say that the games are not classics in their own right, but the music as well is just as classic. And I would make an argument that, people talk about movies being a great art form where, you put a lot of things together. But games are a form of art too in their own right, because there's so much effort put into them. And, it's only now that you can sit back and appreciate the greatness of it. So this is the end of part one, but I am planning to do a part two, and part two will have music from the likes of Final Fantasy 7 and 10, and Castlevania and Streets of Rage, which I would have liked to have included in this one, but I will save for part two, because Streets of Rage is another game that came out on the Genesis Mega Drive that had pretty damn classic music for its time, and it still sounds pretty good even now. So, because when I was preparing this podcast, I listened to the music a lot again, and just sort of reminded me of how great some of the music was back in the day when we used to play a lot more. Okay, well, thanks again for listening. Please subscribe on the YouTube channel. Please also join the Twitter, or follow us on Twitter at Superb Diamond RA or Superb Diamond Ra. Thanks again for listening, and look forward to part two in the next week or so. And peace out. And to finish off, I think there's no more fitting a track than the one I'm about to play by Frank Sinatra.